Welcome to Cinema, the movie and television podcast show that talks about everything dirty, mean, and nasty.
It rubs the lotion on its skin
In Hollywood and beyond. If it's sin, we're in. Hey, hello everybody, it's Brandon Luna with Calypso Cigar Review and Cinema, and we're here today with Jack Sholder, director of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and one of my personal faves in his filmography, The Hidden. How you doing today, sir?
Yes.
Great, thank you. It's fun to be here, and thank you for the cigars.
No problem.
Yes, you are a cigar smoker. I'm Randy Rankin with Cinema and what's it called? Calypso Cigar Review.
Wow, good job. Good job. You're doing great.
Hey, I'm nervous. He directed Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I mean, come on.
I know, yeah.
You know?
It's okay to be nervous.
It's well known on the show that I'm not the biggest of the Nightmare on Elm Street fans, but 2 and the new Nightmare are my 2 favorites.
Really? So why is that?
I don't know. I thought there was more energy in 2. I just didn't buy into the first one. I like movies that like stuff can really happen to you, and the first one just didn't do it for me. But the second one I thought was a lot more fun.
Well, I never felt that the first one was any kind of a sacred cow, so I thought, well, let me see if I can't do better. So, I mean, I don't know whether I did or not. That's up to other people to decide.
To me, you did.
But that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to make a film that I thought was entertaining, and also, you know, my background is I was a film editor, so I like to keep things moving. I like to keep things jumping.
Gotcha. Well, talk to him about your movie that you like.
Yeah. Well, I also on Nightmare 2, the scene Freddy at the pool with "You're All My Children."
Yes.
That was the coolest damn scene
awesome.
of any between the first 2 Freddy movies. That really did it for me. It was just an awesome scene, and I'd love to know how much from script to screen changed when you were shooting that movie.
Well, not a whole lot. It was an awful lot of work to try to pull that whole thing off. You know, we had to have the water boiling, the thing boiling, and there was just like a ton of these effects. And actually, when I got hired, which was about 6 weeks before we started shooting, I was given a list. It was about 8 pages of special effects, out of which I knew how to do about 2. And I was like in a panic. I mean, I had an anxiety attack. I said, how the hell am I going to get this done? And they said, oh, we got this great special effects guy. And he was an old-timer. His name was Dick Albane. And he had been the head special effects guy at 20th Century Fox. And so I met him. And I said, well, of all the films that you've worked on, you know, what are you the proudest of? And he thought a minute. He said, I think the work I did with the Three Stooges. So that gave me a lot of confidence.
Right.
And he was real old school, you know, like monofilament. You know, you'd pull things with monofilament, and he had all that kind of stuff. But so you know, it was his job to figure out how to make all this stuff work. Like there's this cool stuff like. There's this thing where somebody grabs a knob and smoke comes out, and they have this thing that's called A-B smoke. You put the A stuff on the knob and the B stuff on the hand, and when they touch, smoke comes out. I mean, it doesn't burn, you know, but it looks like smoke. So there's all these things that have been used in Hollywood for like the last 50 years. You know, now, you know, none of that stuff would. Or very little of it would be done, but it was all really old school stuff.
See, I missed that. I missed the old school way of doing I mean, I hate CGI. I mean, we're both anti-CGI. Yeah. I like the in-camera effects. I mean, I just love that so much more. Do you miss that at all?
Well, not really.
Okay, it probably makes it easier for you.
Well, I mean, when I look at these films, you know, like even when I did The Hidden, which was a couple of years later, the quality of the prosthetics made a quantum leap. They'd found this new material, so that it used to be, you would see a face and it kind of looked like something from Madame Tussauds waxwork.
Yeah,
right.
And then they found this new material that they could do a cast that was much, much, much more fine. And when we did the heads for The Hidden, because it's this thing where this thing transfers in, and the actor took one look at it and freaked out because it was his head. I mean, it didn't look like a Madame Tussauds head. It looked like his head, you know, with every little hair and all the little whiskers, and you know, and so when I look at the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff and the skin is cracked, and you can see it's phony, you know, and you know, the standard keeps changing. the first Star Wars was revolutionary. You look at it now, and a lot of that stuff looks kind of So it looks kind of cheesy, but if you understand when it was made and all of that
Absolutely.
stuff, some of it's very, very imaginative. I loved in the transformation scene when Jesse screams and the camera looks down and you see an eyeball looking up.
That was awesome.
That's just a concept. Whether you did it CGI or whatever, it was just a great concept.
So how did you happen on to the Hidden? Was it a script that you found that you liked, or what was the genesis of that project for you?
Well, what happened was I had been looking for something good to do after I did Elm Street, and I got offered every horror film that there was, and I wasn't really interested in doing another straight-on horror film. I was looking for something that I thought would, well, not just take my career to the next level, but I wanted to do something that I've never been. I was never a kid who grew up always wanting to make horror movies. That wasn't my goal. So I was looking for something that was better, and Sarah Risher, who was the head of production at New Line at that time, I bumped into her and said, we've got this script here and I think you'd really like it. And she said, let me send it over. And it was the script for The Hidden, and I read it, and I just thought, wow, this is a fantastic script. It was just such a good script, and I thought, it's just right up my alley. I know how to do this movie. And they had a different director who was attached to it. And so I worked to convince them to get rid of that guy and hire me, and that's basically what happened. So, if you don't have a good script, you're not going to make a good movie. If you have a good script, it's kind of like a chef. He can be a great chef, but if he's got like a piece of meat that's gone bad and vegetables that are wilted, it's just not going to taste very good.
Right.
For sure.
Well, let me ask you. You said you had 6 weeks to prepare for Elm Street. What's the time frame you actually would prefer to have to get a movie going when you're starting to direct?
Well, depending on the film.
Something with the special effects that you're going to have to
all those elements that you have, 3 months.
Okay.
A lot of stuff was already happening. It had already happened without me. Finding some locations, but still you have to cast the thing. Stuff has to get built. We had sets. The whole interior was a set. The exterior was an actual house. But there's an awful lot of stuff that has to get done. Plus, I have to do all of my prep work.
Right.
I'm very, very big on prep. I do what's called shot lists. I figure out exactly. I basically make the entire movie on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, I initially started doing it just out of fear. Because I'd walk on and they'd say, what do we do now? And I'd say, I have no idea. So I have these dreams where I'm on a movie set and I haven't read the script and people are asking me questions and I don't know. And then I realize that either I'm in my pajamas or I'm in my underwear.
I do that before sales calls.
and I try to act maybe if I just act like I know what I'm doing, no one will notice that I'm in my pajamas.
Right, gotcha.
And it's just a very uncomfortable feeling.
I can imagine.
So you do smoke cigars. Tell us a little bit about how you found cigars, your cigar history, what kind of cigars you like.
Well, I guess, I don't know how long I've been smoking cigars. Maybe, 15 to 20 years. I'm not a heavy cigar smoker. When I'm shooting, and I'm shooting outside, I like to smoke a cigar. It gives me something to do. And when I've spent a moderate amount of time visiting Europe, and then I always go and get the Cubans. I get the Monte Cristos and the Partagas and all of those great ones. But I've got a really nice home here in North Carolina. I'm up in the mountains. I have a deck that I can see about 50 miles.
What part of North Carolina, by the way?
Near Asheville.
Okay.
Not near Asheville, in Asheville.
A really good friend of mine's from Boone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not too far. But so I love to sit on the deck and smoke a cigar. So I've been buying cigars now that I can get in America. And frankly, I always thought that the Cubans were better, but I'm smoking a lot of cigars that I think are every bit as good,
Yeah. We always say we think the Nicaraguans and Dominicans have caught up to Cubans. And,
Yeah.
And they really
Definitely in the process and the type of tobaccos they're using.
I mean, I have to say, like a good, like a Partagas number 2 or a Monte number 2 is, pretty hard to beat. They're just, I don't know, just something about them that's just sort of definitive. But I've smoked some Nicaraguans, particularly. I think I like the Nicaraguans just a little bit better. They've got a little more kind of spiciness to them.
Right.
Yeah, definitely guys like Don Pepin that are producing really spicy cigars.
Yeah. Anything he makes, anything I've ever smoked that he makes, I really enjoy.
Yeah.
They're rich, they're full and they're rich, and they have a really nice kind of balance. They're not too bitter or strong, but just very satisfying smoke, and they're nicely made. They burn nice.
Yeah, he's definitely a master blender, master roller.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
do you have anything you're working on right now?
perhaps.
Oh, okay. All right.
Super secret stuff. Can't talk about it.
I can't really talk about it.
Okay. All right.
But hopefully.
Well, we'd love to see you back out there doing something great and new. And,
check his IMDb page and keep up, and so you'll know what
we'll
he's got
definitely
coming
do
up.
that. It was great talking to you, and
Hey,
thanks for the time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir.
And thank you for the cigars.
Enjoy it. Let me know what you think of them.